Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something I think is really crucial for our listeners.
Absolutely. How to grow intentionally as a chiropractor. We're
Yeah.
talking about really leading your market.
Exactly. Not just, being busy chasing your tail. This is about smart, strategic scaling.
And we've been digging into this framework. It's from Twisted Thots, which comes from the #1 growth coordinator in chiropractic, apparently.
Right. And what's really interesting is they connect it to strategies that, top law firms use for scaling.
Yeah, which gives it some weight, doesn't it? It suggests it's a proven kind of approach, not just a random idea.
Definitely. So this is really for you listening, because chances are you're thinking about growth. Maybe you're just starting out.
Or maybe you're established but looking to, break through to that next level.
Right. So understanding where you actually are on this journey and what comes next, that's key.
And this framework lays out 5 stages. We've got Spark, Builder, Boost, Expansion, and Empire.
It gives you a kind of roadmap, which is helpful. Each stage needs a different focus.
Exactly. It's not accidental growth. It's very intentional, step by step.
Okay, so let's dive into that first one then. Stage 1, Spark.
Spark. The ignition phase, they call it.
And the key thing here, apparently, isn't feeling totally ready, which is probably a relief for some people.
Yeah. It's more about belief actually turning into, investment, putting some skin in the game financially.
Putting your money where your mouth is.
Precisely. And the focus here is heavily on action, just movement, getting going.
Rather than perfect mastery.
Exactly. Perfectionism can kill you at this stage. It's about just making some noise, getting visible.
So what does that look like? What are the actual actions?
Well, the source mentions some concrete things. Investing in a proper website, for instance, not just, a placeholder.
Makes sense. And optimizing your Google business profile. That seems basic but critical.
Absolutely critical for local search. Plus getting involved locally, events, good signage.
Building that initial reputation too, right? Getting positive reviews.
All those foundational things. Just letting the community know you exist and you're ready to help.
But there's a pitfall here, isn't there? The framework mentions getting stuck.
Oh, yeah. A lot of practices apparently get stuck right here in Spark.
By waiting too long.
Waiting too long, underspending on those crucial first things, or just second-guessing every single move, analysis paralysis.
Right, which stops you dead in your tracks.
It really does. And without that initial spark, that visibility, it's almost impossible to build any momentum for the later stages.
So the big takeaway for Spark is just start. Get moving.
Pretty much. Don't wait for perfect. Action trumps perfection here.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So after Spark, assuming you get moving, you enter stage 2, Builder.
Right, the builder phase. Now you've got some things happening. Leads might be starting to come in more consistently.
Maybe you've hired your first team member even.
Could be. The focus really shifts now. It's less about just any action and more about structure, optimization.
Okay, so implementing system.
Exactly. Systems become key. Tracking your KPIs, your key performance indicators. You need to know your numbers.
And finding the leaks, right? Like in your intake process.
Yeah, where are potential patients falling off? You got to fix those leaks. Refining front desk scripts even, making everything smoother, more effective.
So it's moving beyond just pure hustle.
It is. It's about being intentional with how you build, analyzing what works, what doesn't, based on actual data.
Building that solid foundation.
But there's another common trap here in the builder stage.
Let me guess. Burnout.
You got it. Confusing hard work with smart work, you can be seeing patients constantly working crazy hours.
But if your systems aren't efficient, you're just spinning your wheels.
Exactly. You burn out before you really grow. You plateau. You're working in the business, not on it.
That really hits home, I think, for a lot of practitioners.
It's a crucial distinction. So the takeaway for the builder stage is build intentionally. Use data. Optimize. Don't just work harder, work smarter.
Right. Avoid that stagnation. Okay, so Spark is ignition, Builder is optimization. What's next? Stage 3, Boost.
Boost. This is where things get potentially explosive. It's the scaling phase.
Taking what worked in the Builder stage and amplifying it.
Yeah, the framework says it's like pouring gas on the fire. You know it works, now you invest heavily in it.
Especially marketing, I assume.
Definitely. Bigger ad budgets. Not just one channel, but maybe Google, Facebook, YouTube, wherever your ideal patients are.
And developing a real brand, not just a logo.
Yes. Moving beyond just basic identity to building a recognized, trusted brand in your market.
There's a mindset shift here too, isn't there?
Yeah.
The resource mentioned it.
Huge shift. You start asking what's the cheapest way?
And start asking.
What's the most effective way? It's about strategic investment for maximum impact, not just saving pennies.
Which naturally brings more risk.
Absolutely. The stakes are higher in Boost. You're spending more, so the potential downside is bigger if things don't pan out.
Requires strong leadership then. Confidence in your strategy.
For sure. But the flip side is much bigger growth potential. Making those bold moves creates visibility.
And visibility attracts more opportunities, more patients.
Exactly. Boldness pays off in the Boost stage, according to this framework. It gets you noticed.
So the key here is be bold, invest strategically, especially in marketing and brand, to really scale up.
You got it. You're building a much bigger fire now. Which leads us logically to stage 4, expansion.
Expansion. Okay, this sounds like taking that successful model and replicating it.
That's the core idea. Opening new locations, maybe moving into new cities, forming strategic partnerships.
You're moving from running a practice to running an organization.
A platform, yeah. It's a fundamental shift. Your thinking has to change. That's not just about your clinic anymore.
How so? What needs to change operationally?
Well, you need to create consistency across locations, maintain quality values. That's tough.
And you probably can't oversee everything yourself anymore.
No way. The framework stresses hiring and training leaders, people who can build their own teams within the model.
Developing that next level of leadership, that's a big step.
It is, and there's a serious warning here, too.
Right.
Expansion without discipline. Without really solid systems and strategy, that's a recipe for chaos.
Things could fall apart quickly, I imagine.
Yeah.
Quality control slips, brand gets diluted.
It can implode. You see it happen. Growth, for growth's sake, without the structure to support it, is dangerous.
So discipline and strategic planning are absolutely critical for expansion.
Paramount. You need the blueprint and the quality control before you start building copies.
Okay, so Spark, Builder, Boost, Expansion.
Yeah.
That brings us to the final stage. Stage 5, Empire. Sounds grand.
It does, doesn't it? This is the peak, according to this model. Market leadership. Influence.
Or you're not chasing opportunities anymore.
Right. They start coming to you. Your brand is so strong, so recognized, you're a magnet. You actually start shaping the industry.
Wow. So what kind of activities are happening at this level?
Things like building huge referral networks, almost self-sustaining ones, hosting major events that people want to be at, investing in media, maybe, building real influence.
It's about reach that goes way beyond just your patient base.
Exactly. And the framework makes an interesting point here. It's not just about being big.
No. What else?
It's about scale and stewardship, responsibility, using that influence for good, contributing back to the profession, building infrastructure.
Impact and legacy, not just size.
Precisely. It's a powerful position. And, the source notes that not everyone needs to aim for empire.
Right. It might not be everyone's goal.
But understanding it exists, understanding what that level looks like, can still inform your journey, even if you're aiming for, say, a strong boost or expansion stage.
Sure, it gives you that long-term perspective.
So the key takeaway for Empire is that true leadership isn't just size. It's about shaping the ecosystem and having that lasting positive impact.
Okay, wow. That's quite a journey through those 5 stages. Spark, Builder, Boost, Expansion, Empire.
It really lays out a potential path.
So the big question for everyone listening now is, where are you? Honestly.
Yeah, take a moment. Do some real self-assessment based on those descriptions. Spark, Builder, Boost, maybe further along.
It's probably common, as the framework suggests, for people to be sort of straddling stages.
Or operating in one stage, maybe Spark.
But thinking like a builder.
And dreaming of Empire. Yeah, that disconnect happens a lot.
And recognizing that disconnect is the first step, isn't it? Understanding where you truly are right now.
Absolutely crucial. Only then can you align your actions with where you actually want to go.
So really reflect.
Yeah.
Which stage feels most real for you today? What's your current operating reality?
And maybe think, what's one thing, one intentional step you could take this week based on that stage to move forward?
Yeah, that's the actionable piece. This framework from Twisted Thots isn't just theory. It's a map to guide those intentional steps.
It really is. So think about your stage, maybe what surprised you about it when we discussed it.
And if you do want to dive deeper into this specific framework, definitely check out the source we mentioned, Twisted Thots. Might offer more clarity.
It's a useful way to think about growth.
Definitely. So the final thought to leave you with as you go about your week.
Now that you have this map, these 5 stages, what's one small but genuinely intentional action you can commit to this week?
Something that moved you, even just a little bit, towards your vision of leadership in your market. Food for thought.